We're back, people, and today we're going to film on Kendall Lamm, Miami Dolphins offensive tackle, and we're going over the Week 3 performance and why I think he's probably the most important depth player on the roster by far. Because, you look at the tackle situation, you have Teron Armstead, who has struggled with injuries a lot throughout his career, even though he's a very good player. They definitely need some depth behind him. A swing tackle is very important. And then you have, on the other side, a very, big question mark on even your starters, and he can end up just going in there and being the starter on that side. So he's very important to this team. He could easily play Week 1. I was pretty impressed with what I've seen in, his 2 preseason game actions. Here on this RPO, he does some pretty good stuff. Like, obviously, they end up throwing it, but him working down a combo and climbing to second level is pretty nice. Here you can see him just combo down, help out 95. He attacks the low hip, allows, Win to get complete control here. And he's thinking with the flow of this play, he wants to cut off this linebacker. But since it was sort of an RPO and 33 stops in his tracks and the ball is getting thrown back to this side, he doesn't flow into him. So now he ends up, getting, without even looking at him, ends up naturally kicking out 23. So if the ball was run to his side, he ends up working this play pretty effectively. Obviously, a play that he doesn't end up being involved because Tua takes the pass option. But pretty nice to see that he can move pretty well. I like him as an athlete. I think, Dolphins have struggled with a lot offensive linemen in the past, even just the starters, and they will still have some struggles, but they haven't had a very good swing tackle in a very long time, and I feel like Lamm has the possibility to be one of their better ones in a while, so excited to see what he can bring to the team this season. Lamm does a very good job in pass pro, and here he's going against, Trayvon Walker, who is the first overall pick from 2 years ago, and so he's facing, good talent. He's looked pretty comfortable. He did this a lot in this game where he sort of just widened the arc, took them past Tua. Like, Tua takes a pretty big, drop here, too, and you can see he just sort of takes him behind the QB. Like, this is play action. Like, Tua's taking, a 7-step drop, and, when your QB's taking that big, of a, drop like that, and you're still able to widen this defensive end that far around him. He has the athleticism to win on the edge like that. He attacks him, he gets aggressive, staying square. Everything's pretty nice here. Knee bend, base, gets hands inside chest. This is a pretty, nice position to be in. And then once Walker is able to, sort of create a little separation right there and, attack the edge, he just has enough speed and athleticism to uses his hands to sort of widen him around there, gives him no chance to get to Tua. Look how much, if Tua steps up here, he's trying to throw a screen, so there's, not much movement here, but if Tua had to step up, he has a lot of room to this side just based on what Lamm was doing one-on-one on the backside versus Walker. This is a nice rep to see as well because you get to see the Dolphins sliding, but also still gets a one-on-one rep, which is really nice because Dolphins do this a lot where they slide their protection, and it makes it actually a very slide protection with the play action. It actually makes it a pretty easy life on the offensive lineman a lot of times and creates a clean pocket sort of naturally with your scheme. But here you get to see him slide, but also get a nice one-on-one. He gets down on this 3 right there, 4-eye type of player, and he's just good feet. Mirror and match ability, squares him up pretty nicely. Get out of it. This guy has inside shade on you, and even though it's a bigger defensive tackle and on that initial push he gets knocked back a little bit, pushed up, but is able to instantly recover, reset his hands, and just uses his feet well. You can see the athleticism to just completely take this away. Never even gives him a chance. 95 is trying to finesse him here, and Lamm is just boom, footwork, really like his feet, and it's just also shows how McDaniel does a really good job. That's why I wasn't as worried about the offensive line this year as in years past because I do think they have better players, 1. And 2, if you watched last year, even though their O-line wasn't great, McDaniel did a really good job of scheming around it. I think that's maybe his strong point as an offensive play caller, just especially with Tua's strengths. It allows them to really combine Tua's strengths with their offensive weaknesses too to avoid it. And but even here, usually you don't get to see pretty solid reps on these. It's usually just going down the line of scrimmage, nothing too crazy. The defensive linemen aren't even trying to get upfield, but here you get to see really good athleticism out of Lamm. He gets a one-on-one matchup in those situations, which doesn't happen all the time. Here we got Lamm with a pretty solid rep, climbing to the second level. You could maybe, be a little bit better. They end up, getting tackled right behind him, so we don't get to see if he could have sustained this. But you can see when he's uncovered, I like his athleticism. He can climb to the second level. He can come down in combo, but right here, he's super uncovered. So he's just getting up to the next level to take on 23. And if there was a little more room to work with from the other blocks. Here you can see, first of all, I like how you use this drag hand here. If 44 shoots to the inside, he has that hand out to help Smythe on a combo, but since he sort of squares up Smythe, the tight end, he just climbs the second level instantly, so he makes a good decision here, and then is able to square up 23 pretty nicely here. It's pretty hard for offensive linemen to get squared up against linebackers like this, when they have a lot of room to work with. Now, could he have done maybe a better job of like exploding and maybe moving him? Yeah, but I mean, he ends up getting tackled from behind. But I would have liked to see, maybe a situation where he does get squared up here, and then Mostert has a little more room and then works off either side of him, and then see if he could have sustained and not allowed 23 to shed off of it. Because by the time they're hand fighting right here, and you just don't know what would have ended up happening if there was those lanes from the other guys. But I do like this rep from Lamb, just seeing the process of the play and him climbing to the second level and at least being able to square up and drive your feet on a guy. Lamb does another solid job here in pass protection against Walker, just winning pretty quickly. Like, gives him a clean pocket here. You can see him, get out of his stance, his kick step right here. Everything looks pretty natural. Maybe bending at the waist a little too much, but you can see him explode out of his stance. Yeah, a little overextended, have a better base. But once he gets engaged, he gets his hands on. Like, Walker's a powerful player and uses speed to power, and he does a really good job extending this hand. I like how he uses his hands here because he goes for the two hands, and then once Walker tries to create space with a two-hand approach to get to the outside, Lamb sort of stonewalls him with his left hand there. Use that power to completely stop him. Use your length to get control. And now Walker tries to work back to the inside because he sees the inside hands not on him, and he gets them both hands on, stops him. Walker tries to work all the way back inside, never has a chance because then the left guard's there to help. But really nice prep from Lamb. He's looked really solid in pass protection. I don't know if he's given up a single pressure it was like 35 snaps, but he didn't really give up any pressures at all. So I want to see a bigger sample size. But from what I've seen, and I know he's had a good camp, from what others have said, I'm excited to watch him play. This is an impressive play from where, look where Walker's aligned, and Lamb has to really get out of there to just widen the arc. Athleticism, just getting out of your stance. Like, this is, not a natural situation for the offensive tackle to be in. They're sort of, sliding to the left here, but he's sort of, sliding just a little bit. Once he sees Walker take a really wide angle, he just has to get out of it, use that feet right there. Look how, boom, he kicks out of it even more and just widens the arc. Never gives Walker a chance to win around the edge. I feel comfortable with his athleticism, especially when guys are trying to win by running the arc, and he just widens them completely. And these are, not short drops either from the quarterbacks. I mean, Skylar right there is more like 5 steps, so nothing crazy. But even earlier with Tua in a 7 or a 9 and things like that. And look how deep Walker ends up getting. Lamb never gives him a chance to win around the edge. Last play that we break down, Lamb again, just widening the arc versus first team players. This is good. Footwork could have been a little more clean, but even when his technique is a little bit off, I feel like there's times he could do things a little bit better. He still ends up recovering and making the play. So there's little things he can improve upon. This is a wide 9 technique. You got to get out of your stance here. Explodes out of it pretty nicely, right there. I'd like to see him I feel like he explodes out with that first step, and then he takes a little second hitch right there, which I don't think he needs to do because it kind of gets his feet caught up. But then he gets out of it back in a good position. He's patient with his hands, waiting for Walker to strike. Then Walker gets the one hands on him, and now he's, boom, in control, hand fighting, widening that arc, and he's playing a half-man relationship. He's not shooting out too far where Walker can work back to the inside. I think he's in a good spot where he could counter that, but he's in a good spot knowing that Walker likes to win to the outside, and he just widens him again, never gives him a chance, just shielding his quarterback the entire time. Stuff I like to see out of Kendall Lamm. Definitely the most important thing when you're coming in at left tackle as a swing guy. Can you pass protect? And I think that's definitely an area where I feel comfortable with Kendall right now as a pass protector. As a run blocker, he's pretty solid, nothing too crazy, but I think, he's definitely at least serviceable in that area. And as a swing tackle goes, definitely one of the better swing tackles I've seen for the Dolphins in quite some time.